bank, they add the interest, and that's their potential of finances. And they can get money from the government printing office for 3 cents on the dollar. Before World War II, we told the American industry, expand. And they said, hell no, what are we going to do with the big plant after the war? So they taxed the American people, their money, to expand all the war plants, then gave it to them for 3 cents on the dollar. The American public really got shafted. You're not allowed to use that symbol. But they don't even know they're shafted. They think somehow government money is used. They don't know that government money is your money. And the government lives on your money. But they try to condition you to think they're great politicians. Well, that's part of the crime. So that's why I say we won't make the history books of the future. The people of the future will be so different. The children will never be given books like Cinderella or Dickie Deer and the Sheep. On the way I met a cow, and the cow said moo moo. Then I met a sheep, and it said ba ba. Well, let's fill the kid's head with that kind of crap. What do you expect? Then you fill him with religion. God loves you. And when a hurricane comes, it doesn't go over the church, it blows the church away too. And if a bus full of nuns, it doesn't go over around that bus, it blows that bus away. He says, the will of Allah. Well, it's God's will, depending on the way you're brought up. If I designed a bridge and it caved in, it's the will of Allah. It's your math that's off, buddy. And you can't get away with that kind of religious crap. Well, the Lord acts in strange ways. If I say the bridge acts in strange ways, I can't get away with that. So science is not perfect. It's just closer approximations of reality. That's all. When he says, I talk to God, there are a lot of people that think God talks to them. Or they talk to God. They can't even talk to Einstein. They can't even talk to a lawyer or a doctor about medical problems. How the hell are they going to talk to God? Just imagine, I'm not Arthur C. Clarke, but I'm just saying, there are many scientists that believe that someday extraterrestrials will come here. Anything that can fly 100 billion light years through space is not like us. And they don't want to see you president. The jackass of all jackasses. They don't want to hear your little stories. They'd be very different than anybody you know. So you see, they have nothing. In other words, if they came from another planet, what they would do is give us the answers to a lot of problems, rather than come to take over. A lot of people believe in flying saucers. I know you don't know this, but I was hired by the publishers of the first book on flying saucers to look at the photographs that people took of flying saucers. So far, all of those pictures were faked. I can tell by the size of the disc in relation to the trees. They were a few inches in diameter. And the one that you see on the covers of most magazines with the 3 spheres underneath it, tilted, and portholes, is a 1927 Sears and Roebuck chicken brooder. So people that believe in flying saucers think that people are coming here from another world to show us the way. Or God will send his angels down if we behave badly. Well, the whole concept of God is a fictitious structure. Now, the right-handed man of God was named Lucifer. And God said, try to better yourself. So Lucifer wanted God's throne. So God got angry and he kicked all those angels out. They're called the falling angels. If God didn't know that his son would be crucified, he's one of the lesser gods. So, you see, your God isn't even smart. The kind of God men make and worship is as dumb as they are. He gets angry, creates floods, disease, bubonic plague, because people don't believe. He made them. What the hell do you expect? So here you have these contradictory stories. And then you have constant romance on television. Romantic novels that people are constantly looking for the right person. There is no right person if you keep changing and reading and learning more. The person you married when you were 21 is the wrong person when you're 42. Unless they read the same books you read and you share values. You see what I mean? So you can't have a constant anything. There's no final thing you can work on that works. There's no best language. Some people say, what if we learn interlingua or something like that, some universal language? Universal language doesn't change people. Semantics doesn't change people unless you change the whole society. Semantics will use it to make more money. They'll use semantics or anything else. So you don't have a decent society. You can't even be decent. Let's say you're a decent woman and you work for Macy's, and the woman next to you says, how much is that lamp? And you say $20. She says, I'll take 2. Being decent and a Christian, you say, if you go 4 stores down, you get the same lamp for $10. You won't be working for Macy's very long. So how can you be decent and be a lawyer? How can you be decent and be a psychiatrist? $65 an hour. If the guy has financial problems, give him some money so he can easily solve his problems. But the psychiatrist makes it more difficult for a person with financial problems. So some psychiatrists are decent. They act in accordance with the society they live in. I'm sorry if you're a psychiatrist. But anyway, same with psychology. Now, people are not brought up to be sane because they don't know what that means. Being sane, you don't look at an airplane and say, that's a new kind of plane, it'll never fly. Which is the way people will talk in the future. I don't see any wings on that plane. How do you propose to lift off the ground without wings? It's really a question, not it'll never fly, it doesn't have any wings. You don't know what you're talking about. When you see a new type of anything, you say, where's the image screen on the TV set? Well, in the future, there'll be no image screen. They'll generate an image in your room. The next thing on TV is 3D without glasses. What comes after that? Generated images. You can have your brother-in-law sit in your house, and he lives in California, and he's sitting on the couch. The only thing that matters is you put your hand through him, and people won't like that. I'd like to be able to shake hands with my brother-in-law. That's the next thing on TV, called teletactile imaging. Now he said, well, how the hell can you make teletactile imaging? I'm going to tell you how. At the tip of your finger, you have a batch of nerves. When you stick this finger in cold water, the transmission of that cold to the brain is so many thousand cycles per second. When you stick your finger in hot water, it's hot, the transmission is different. So if you learn what those transmissions are and play them into the finger, you can play your finger in hot water, salt water, touching a balloon. Do you understand what I mean? From the fingertip to the brain, there's a transmission of so many cycles per second. Your tongue has holes in it, lots of them. And when you eat bacon and eggs, it falls in that hole, it's pre-digested, and the nerve underneath it titillates a certain way to the brain, which you interpret as bacon and eggs. When we find out those frequencies, that's what we'll be studying in the future. When people say, what will people do? You can make anything taste like anything else. And you can make, they say in your school books, everybody gets old and dies. So we all accept that. But the medics tell us, the physiologists, that plaque accumulates in our blood vessels. And the wall becomes thick like a clogged sewer pipe. And the nutrients can't get out, so you get old and wrinkled. Not because you're getting old and wrinkled, because we don't know how to maintain the body at its optimal. But we're moving fast in that direction, and we'll be able to clean out the blood vessels and keep you at 22 all the time, or go back to 22, or whatever age is your maximum performance. People can live indefinitely when people learn more about how the body works. Instead of praying, dear God, it hadn't rained for 6 months, my plants are dying out, dig a ditch, an irrigation ditch. All the scientists are trying to tell you, get up off your ass and make it a better place. Instead of hoping that the Lord will give us peace on earth and goodwill to all people. What the hell does that mean? It's nothing. You give lip service to religion. God is wonderful, God is great. You know, it's like bringing the teacher an apple. They're trying to get on the good side of God. They can't even conceive of God. So I'm saying to you, if you want a better world, you have to agree with some portions of what I say or disagree. And please don't be polite when you ask questions. If you ask questions, if I fail to answer it, say you didn't